Could you walk me through last season?
Deal. That's a loaded question. Where do you want me to start? Last season, we developed an electric vehicle and an internal combustion vehicle. With the electric vehicle, it was a single motor in the rear with a differential, and then our internal combustion was a single-cylinder WR 450. Both our cars took a lot of development, running to monocoques, carbon fiber monocoques, and then took them to comp after extensive testing, which we placed 31st with the IC and 13th with the EV. We put a lot of work into our IC competition for 2024, shown by making design finals at competition for the first time in many decades for our team. With that, we pushed the team really hard to have our knowledge at a level that we've never seen before, and also apply that to the car and make a car that was fast on the track. Unfortunately, we had some failures at competition that led us to not place as highly as we thought the car would if we didn't have those failures, and that's why we pushed extra hard in 25 to make sure that we don't see those failures again and that we can place a car on the podium.
All was really well until that last day of competition. A small sensor issue, something that we honestly should have foreseen, kept us from finishing endurance, and I think it kind of capped off a year where a lot of hard work and a lot of tough decisions were made. Coming to today, it put a real fire in under everybody's seat. Everyone is incredibly motivated to do better and be better because of that.
Soundbite machine.
All right.
How has the manufacturing of this car been different from last year?
So a lot of things actually have been the same from last year. So we tried to keep things as similar as possible. Changing our engine package was the biggest upgrade from last year's car. So our goal as a team was to keep most everything the same. Chassis was almost identical. We used very similar molds as to last year with only a few minor changes. And then rear basket the same way. Everything we do manufacturing, we do in-house if we can. So all of our carbon work we do in-house. We do all of our own layups. We make our own molds. We do the finishing for them. All of our fabricated parts, we weld, we bend, and we fix ourselves. And then machining-wise, we do all of the CNC work. So we teach our own operators. We're running our own machines. We write our own CAM software. That's a big thing that Virginia Tech Motorsports tries to bring is, the lunchbox mentality like we had back in the 90s. We want to do it ourselves. We want to do the work. We like getting our hands dirty.
So one of the big changes we made this year after identifying in the fall and identifying what we'd seen last spring of how important it is to have testing time. So we made a tremendous push to manufacture this car earlier and hit a way more aggressive timeline for manufacturing. The result of that is that we had our car on the ground December 11th, which was the goal that we set out to have, and we were able to drive our new powertrain for this year and start teething that thing and start figuring out some of the problems. Came back in the middle of August, well before classes started, and I already had parts getting turned on the lathe, get sent out to EDM for some of our inserts for some of our hubs. And we sat down and we worked out a manufacturing schedule before we got back of what we needed to do to hit each deadline, because we can only cut so much at one time. And we were able to sit down, figure out what needed to be done, and we were very successful in being able to stick to it. We kind of changed our approach where last year we would work a lot more afternoons and evenings. We decided we weren't doing that. We were working 8 to 5, which turned in really to 8 to 8 and 8 to whenever during the week, and we didn't plan to do anything on the weekends. We planned to have the weekends as our catch-up for whatever we didn't get done during that week, and because of that we were able to stay on schedule day by day, week by week, and we were able to hit our deadlines and push a car out early. That's allowed us a ton of testing time and a ton of time for refinement that we didn't have last year.
So how is testing going this season? What progress has the team made?
So as I mentioned before, we got our first test drive on December 11th, which was a date that I hammered into our team members' heads. I don't think any of them could forget that original date because I think I said it about every day. I wrote it on every whiteboard. We had a funny sign that one of our team members made. And as I'd mentioned before, the chassis came out in the beginning of the spring semester. So we actually used 24's chassis to prove everything else as far as our suspension and our powertrain package was concerned. That first test night was really awesome. We invited everybody out. It was snowing, which I had hoped for. Some people hoped that it wasn't so cold, but it was a beautiful sight to see. It had a lot more power than I had dealt with before, and may have slid very close to a pole, which I think people were pretty scared of, but all things turned out well. Looking forward to the future. We are hoping to structure our drive days more like competition so that team members get more experience what competition may be like and what we need and how valuable the time actually is when you're there. You know, you only get 2 days of dynamic competition. You get 2 days of static tech. So every second that we spend at competition is really, really important. And I want to instill that into our team members now and get us really into a groove so everybody knows what they're doing and where they're going. So that really, I think, is going to allow us to get to competition and have complete faith in the vehicle, have complete faith in our drivers, and do amazing. And I really think this is the year for us to be back at the top where we belong.
Talk to me about the team's results at Michelin's Formula Shootout earlier this year.
Yeah, so the Michelin Shootout kind of was a great revenge story for us this last year. I think myself and everyone else is not just proud, but like, you know, super, super happy about the results that we were able to achieve that time. You know, the year before, we brought the turbocharged powertrain. It was driving, but you know, it did blow up during endurance. Quite a dramatic failure that we had in endurance during the Michelin event. So when we came back this year and we're faced with competing with teams that were, you know, not just top 10 in competition, but some of the best teams that we competed against last year at Michigan, we kind of felt that we had a point to prove. And you know, weeks of hard work and preparation of just getting to that event and making sure that the car was dialed in were huge contributing factors to our overall results that we had there. Michelin was a hell of a performance for the team.
Felt like we left a lot on the table with last year's performances in Michigan at the FCE competitions. So we went out with both cars. Unfortunately, we were the only EV there that competed, but we still had a really strong showing with that car and put up some times in events that beat some of the other IC competitors there. We were able to go out and actually win with the internal combustion car from last year, which was huge for our team. I think it really fulfilled what a lot of our seniors from last year knew we were capable of. And it was hard for us. Honestly, last semester there were times where I was kind of wondering, you know, we finished 31st overall. We say we've got this great car, but is it really that great? We didn't do that well in any of the dynamic events. But to be able to go out and show up at Michelin and put up strong showing and beat some other really strong competitors that were out there was really big for our team, really big for the morale. And it showed that all the work we had put into that car did pay off, and it shows what platform we were starting with for this year.
First place.
Okay.
Second.
What kind of result is the team hoping for at Formula SAE's official competition this year?
Everybody knows here that we're in it to win it. Everybody knows here that we're not going to show up to competition wanting to place 10th or wanting to place 9th. We want to win, and we're going to do everything in our power to do it. And I think this is the team. This is the team that can do it, and I'm really proud to say that the group of guys and the group of girls that we have, tremendous amount of work been putting to this car, many long nights. The first semester was a really long push. The team knew that, and we'd hoped the second semester to be a little bit lighter, but it has not been. It's been all gas, no brakes, which in my opinion is the exact way we need to run this team in order to place first, in order to win. Cool.